Greetings, everyone, and welcome to week 14. I wanted to touch base with you again this week to talk to you about your assignment. So this week we are going to be building, this is in week 14, we are going to be building a file server. So for this week, we are going to be using Server 2 in the NetLab environment, and we're going to make sure we join this server to our domain, and we're going to give it the roles of file and a print server. Now, the Active Directory Domain Controller is by far the most important controller that we create in our network, and that's why you create it first. So you, at this point, should have every user, group, and OU created on your Active Directory Domain Controller. In my opinion, the most a second server, and don't get me wrong, DHCP is important, and we haven't done anything with that yet, but the file server acts as a repository for every object that users save. So it kind of like alleviates the need to back up every single computer we have in our network. We instead just back up the file server. So, and typically most people make them file and print servers. So you're going to change the name, network address, and time zone, join your domain, and add the role for file and print server. So you're also going to add just the file resource manager. Don't worry about using the distributed file system. And you're going to create the specified shares that I have listed here. The other thing you're going to do is create quotas. So each user has 100 meg space allotment. And what that does is it prevents them from downloading lots of information to the public folder. We are going to work on creating the group policy that allows them to redirect their home directories to the file server, but we're going to do that next week. So you can use your book as a reference since we've done all these labs. So there's no reason for you to look back and find out how to do the specific tasks if you're unsure. You want to send a screenshot of the shares and the quotas. Next thing you need to do is test your servers. You want to join the Windows 7 machine to the domain, log into your domain as one of the users you created so you can access the file share. That is what that server is for. And so with your NetLab environment, you got the client 1, server 2. Server 1 at this point should be your domain controller. Server 2 is going to be our file and print server. I will let you know what we're going to do with Server 3 next week. As I said, this is a work in progress lab. So I'm going to go to Server 2. And as you remember from last week, it is also on the first screen. If you need to get into these, it is capital P A55W0RD, and it should so if the OOBE doesn't come up, I always recommend students to make sure you get the OOBE correct. The last thing you want to do is we want to set our time zone, we want to configure it with a static IP address, and by all means change the name. Now these have been done, they've called Server 2 Workgroup. Server 2 is not what I would recommend calling it. Once you're finished with that, don't worry about updates obviously, but you're going to go into the roles and you're going to add the file and print role. So as I said, next I'm going to just do the file server for you just so you know exactly what I'm looking for. So file services, and you can do print and document services, and then say next. Now printer's pretty easy. When you highlight these, you can actually see, I'm not checking it, I'm just highlighting the service. This is for Unix based. If this is for internet, and we're fine, just print server is fine. So we're going to just say next. This is what, so I don't want you to do the distributed file system, but I do want you to put the file server resource manager, and then you're going to press next on it. And then you can monitor, which we do want to monitor it, configure storage usage monitor, and this is actually allows you to create thresholds later. So you want to put a check here, and we're going to go ahead and say next. The rest of it should be fine. You're going to put it in a storage report, you're going to say next, and then you're going to actually install. Okay. Now I didn't do the first step, so I've actually, haven't joined this to a domain. If you end up doing this first, it's okay. I would still recommend that you join the domain first. and then you're able to go ahead and set up your shares. Now this shouldn't take that long to do. It should, no more than an hour possibly. The other thing is you can also make changes to your design, your Active Directory design, and actually include a folder that it just looks like a folder, and give the name of the share and add this to your Active Directory design. Those documents that you did in week 11 and 12 are works in progress, meaning anything that you've changed or you've decided to do differently, you need to go back to those documents and you need to make the corrections on it, because those are what I'm going to require you to turn in week 16. So that gives you a basic idea of how to install the two roles. I think you should be fine with this. And again, your book has the information that you need, so go back and take a look at it. Again, if you have any problems or questions, just contact me. All right. The best way, if you contact me through one of the Valencia emails instead of Blackboard, it forwards directly to my phone. So if you want an immediate question answered, just contact me that way. All right. I hope this helps, and you will see the login credentials at the beginning of the slides again, and I will talk to you later this week. Take care.